Hello everyone, and welcome to A and B Recaps. Today, we follow episode 2 of Solo Leveling. The horrifying deaths of 2 group members sent the entire party into a panic. Their leader, S. Cheon, immediately ordered everyone to stay still to avoid provoking another attack. Fortunately, Jin-Woo sensed the danger and acted in time, saving everyone from certain death. Though he only had an instinctive feeling about the threat, his intervention proved crucial. Jin-Woo was shocked to see that one of the leader's arms had been burned off. Ji, who was very weak, required Jin-Woo's assistance in bandaging the leaders. Wound Data Jui, a healer-class hunter, typically participated only in simple raids due to her weak combat ability. Leader S. Cheon had taken part in B-rank dungeon raids a few times before, but the power of this boss was unlike anything he had encountered. It was likely an A rank, or possibly even an S rank entity. The stone tablet inside the temple bore an inscription that warned, "Those who do not follow the rules will not survive." This led Jin-Woo to speculate that the so-called god mentioned on the tablet might actually be the terrifying statue looming before them. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo's sister, Gina, was approached by a classmate who inquired about her brother. Gina simply described him as an E-rank hunter who frequently came home covered in injuries. Her classmate, who aspired to be a hunter herself, believed she could perform better. Back in the dungeon, leader S. Cheon preferred to find a way to escape rather than confront the boss head-on. However, one hunter, who had recently secured a ISS contract with a major guild, refused to accept the idea of dying there. Confident in his speed, he believed he could kill the entity before it attacked him. Unfortunately, the moment he moved, his entire body was reduced to dust in an instant. The mere flash of the statue's eyes held enough power to eliminate anyone instantly. Despite its immense strength, the statue did not attack indiscriminately like weaker monsters. Jin-Woo then asked Leader Cheon about the first rule on the stone tablet. Cheon replied that it instructed them to show respect to the god. Realizing that the dungeon operated under its own set of rules, Jin-Woo decided to test his theory. Dripping with sweat, he slowly stood up. As soon as the statue's eyes flashed, he quickly bowed his head. To his relief, the light in its eyes extinguished, and nothing happened. Understanding the situation, he immediately instructed everyone to kneel before the statue. As they complied, the statue's eyes lost their glow, but its mouth twisted into a grotesque, eerie smile. One person hesitantly stood up and moved, but this time, the statue did not attack. Encouraged by this, the others also stood up, sighing in relief as they realized they had survived the first ordeal. However, Jin-Woo knew it wouldn't be that simple. Suddenly, the statue rose from its throne and began moving toward them. The second rule on the stone tablet was to praise the god. A member of the group, who had studied folklore, volunteered for the task. He knelt, clasped his hands, and began reciting sacred hymns. The statue's movement slowed, as if it was responding to his praise. However, Jin-Woo quickly noticed that something was off. The hymns were not the correct ones. Before anyone could react, the statue's eerie grin widened, and it mercilessly crushed the man under its foot, spreading blood across the floor. Panic ensued as some members of the group attempted to flee. Those who were too paralyzed by fear to move were also crushed underfoot. Jin-Woo grabbed Jui's hand and ran. A young man in a blue shirt, who had just returned to hunting to support his pregnant wife, hoped that distancing himself from the large statue would keep him safe. However, a soldier statue behind him swung its weapon, cutting him in half. At once, Jin-Woo desperately searched for a way to survive. Another hunter lost an arm and half his body to an attack. Jin-Woo then noticed that some statues held musical instruments. Shouting to the others, he instructed them to stand in front of those specific statues. As soon as they did, the statues began playing music, leaving them unharmed. Jin-Woo and Jui found a statue holding an instrument, but it refused to play. Realizing that each statue only allowed one person, Jin-Woo quickly ran to another. The new statue accepted him, and Jui was safe. Just as Jin-Woo believed he had escaped danger, he was suddenly impaled by a shield-wielding statue after stepping into an unprotected area. Jui screamed his name in anguish, but he had not yet succumbed to his injuries. Bleeding heavily, he desperately crawled toward safety. As the large statue's foot loomed over him, it came crashing down, leaving a long trail of blood behind. Miraculously, he reached a musical statue just in time, and it began to play. Once again, he had barely escaped death. However, Jui was horrified to see that Jin-Woo's leg had been severed. Desperate, she tried to treat him, but his wound wouldn't heal. Amidst the chaos, arguments broke out. The first person who had suggested moving deeper into the cave now blamed the leader for making poor decisions. Even leader Chiun admitted his mistake. Suddenly, the massive statue raised its arm, and the entire dungeon began to shake violently. From the center, an altar emerged from the ground. Jin-Woo recalled that according to mythology, altars were often used to offer treasures or sacrifices to deities. The third rule was to have faith in the deity. A desperate hunter interpreted this as a demand for sacrifice. He drew his sword, suggesting that the leader be offered as a sacrifice. Although the group was appalled by his suggestion, leader Chiun shockingly agreed to go alone. As he approached the altar, flames erupted behind him. Did they really need a sacrifice? Jin-Woo, despite his injuries, asked 2 people to help him onto the altar. The moment they stepped inside, 3 additional flames lit up. Time was running out. The gate had been open for nearly a week, and if left unchecked, the dungeon would soon break open, unleashing monsters into the world. Meanwhile, Gina visited her mother in the hospital, recounting her day at school. Her mother, however, remained silent with her eyes closed. Back in the dungeon, panic spread as one girl could no longer bear the sight of the statues and fled. An orange flame extinguished, and the gate began to close slightly. Jin-Woo realized the green flames were a countdown. If all extinguished, the gate would close entirely, trapping them forever. Another person gave in to fear and ran, causing another flame to disappear. With only 3 people left, leader Chiun instructed Jui and Jin-Woo to run, as they still had a future ahead of them. However, exhausted from treating Jin-Woo earlier, Jui could barely move. She insisted that the leader take Jin-Woo instead. The argument escalated until Jin-Woo silenced them, promising to take Jui out for a meal after this ordeal. Realizing they had no time left, the leader knocked Jui unconscious, carried her and ran. Left alone, Jin-Woo reflected on his past, his family, and his unyielding will to survive. He grabbed a sword, determined to take at least one monster down with him. The statues attacked, slicing off his arm and stabbing him through the neck. As his vision darkened, a message appeared before him. Hidden quest, courage of the weak. It informed him that he had qualified to become a player. If he refused, his heart would stop instantly. With no other choice, Jin-Woo pressed accept. That concludes episode 2 of Solo Leveling. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to A&B Recaps for more content. A&B loves all of you.